guys, it's Christina from Redefine Creative, and I am back with another layout for Cheeky Studio. And so I am working with the new Easter collection, and I love this collection. I love the colors. So it's got this really great kind of wood grain craft type of color, as well as these really rich, I just love this collection. Totally awesome blues. Okay, so what I am doing is I have pulled two older photos, and they are both 4x6s, and they are before I had like digital photos and all kinds of extras and the way to edit and have multiple sizes and multiple copies. So I am not wanting to do a whole lot of trimming to these photos. This is kind of something where I have one copy and I may or may not have, like the old-fashioned, what's the word I'm looking for? Like the negatives, leftovers to where I could print more. So I'm just going to basically leave these two photos the way they are. And so these are both pictures from the day that Parker came home from the hospital when he was first born. And so these are old photos because that kiddo just had an 11th birthday. But he happened to come home on Easter. And so that is kind of what I am going to use this collection to talk about. And so what I decided to do was to use a wood grain background, and this is just from the Crepe Paper Oasis collection. And then I'm using my Thickers alignment tools here to create some circles. And so I want a half circle to go above my photos on the left and below my photo on the right. And so that's going to create kind of some symmetry throughout my entire layout. And it adds some circular softness to this layout because the wood grain does have those lines where it's divided up into squares and triangles. This is going to add a softness to it, and since it's an Easter layout, I do like that it's having a little bit more of that soft feel to it. So my photos are just on a piece of white cardstock background. I left them basically 4x6, so they overlap just a tiny bit, and then I've added just that little bit of a white border. And I'm just going to kind of leave them the way they are. And I'm happy with how that looks. And a lot of times when I work with these older photos, something that I really like about working with older photos or like to do is to create more of a neutral. So using a wood grain background rather than a white, because the colors aren't quite as vibrant and crisp as they are in the photos that we have now. And so this kind of softens everything up and doesn't make it seem like such a harsh contrast between the older photos and the bright white newer cardstock. And so I'm taking those circular details and I just glued down all those little pieces of ephemera that came in this pack. So I kind of made this wreath out of all of the leaves and boughs that came in the package. And then I grabbed the sequins that coordinate, and these are also from Cheeky Studio. And I'm just scattering them throughout those details. And so it's just going to add some additional texture and dimension and interest. And then I did take that piece of ephemera that is the Easter bunny with the basket, and I placed it on some foam adhesive and popped it up off of that bottom portion. Because I know that I'm going to fill each of these open spaces with part of my story. So the space up at the top of my photos is going to be where my title lives. So I'm going to take these foam thickers and write out the word Easter, and then I'm going to grab those puffy stickers that you see on the screen from Freckled Fawn and use those to finish off my title so that the entire title is going to read My Easter Joy. So the word my I'm going to put kind of over on the left of the letters, and it's going to run vertically. And then I'm going to put joy over on the other side of Easter, and it's going to run horizontally. And that allows it to really nestle into that space, and that's really what I wanted to do, was to be able to contain my entire title element into that space that I created with the wreath. And then the one underneath my photo on the right is going to be where I put my journaling. And so my journaling is just going to talk about how surprised and excited we were that you got to come home from the hospital on Easter, and our whole family was there to celebrate, and you had this absolutely ridiculous Easter basket that I think was probably bigger than you were, full of all kinds of things that you were not going to totally appreciate at that point in time. So one of them, both of these pictures are one of the things that were in your Easter basket, which was just this little My First Easter rattle that had Winnie the Pooh all dressed up like the Easter Bunny. And so they're just pictures of my mom, kind of she has you laid out on the couch playing with that little Easter bunny. And so definitely a memory that we want and a story that we want to tell, but not something that needs, you know, a super fancy, ultra detailed, crazy, ridiculous layout. Just a story that we needed to tell. And so I have added down in that bottom left-hand corner, it's a little bit off screen, I added another piece from the ephemera pack, and then I'm just going to take a pen and put Easter 2007 on the bottom of that. And then I also carried over the sequin detail down there as well, so that it does have that same texture and pop of brighter color. And then I'm going to go ahead and go back and add my journaling underneath that photo into that space. And that is basically going to do it for this layout. So do make sure that you go over and check out Cheeky Studio. I will leave a link down below to the Easter pack as well as the sequins that I used. There's also going to be a coupon code down there that you can absolutely use to pick up some fun things in the Cheeky Studio store. And this video is also part of a playlist if you want to go back and check out some of the other things that Cheeky Studio also has to offer. Some of those great products are showcased in the videos down below as well. And so I would love it if you would take a minute to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment down below. Do you do a lot of holiday crafting, or do you, like, how do you handle holiday layouts or holiday photos? Do you create layouts for all of the holidays? Do they go in a separate album? Do you skip holidays? Do you make them part of your project life? Like, how do you handle scrapping holiday memories? That's a question I always have, because I always feel like I have a million photos. But they, excuse me, but the photos kind of, run together, are very similar from one year to the next. So I would love a comment below about how you handle scrapping your holiday memories. And then I will be back to see you again real soon. Have a great crafty day. Bye!